Hey, everybody, welcome back to the next 90%. My name is Justin Dobbins. Welcome.
Hey, I'm Erin.
Hey, Caitlin.
Matt.
All right, so this is a new year. We see a lot of recommitments and a lot of rededications to personal health and wellness. And our very own Matt and Erin are going to talk to us about their own this year with the new contest starting.
You bet. I'm going to kick this off. As many of you know, we were in the Positively Unstoppable 2021 challenge. And although, we kind of hit the ground running and kept that momentum going, wasn't quite enough to hit that finish line. So we've recommitted to this year. So, obviously we're going to have to retweak our goals after losing the kind of weight that we both have. It's something that we're going to have to really refocus. So I found that the end of last year, we started tapering off a little bit. We hit the beginning of the year, hit the ground running, really focused on our goals, did lots of extra challenges. And then near the end of the year, we kind of slid back into maintenance mode, fell into holiday mode. So it's time to really sink our heels into this and push forward again. So my thought process is, obviously we're going to redo our SmackDown sheets. We're going to recommit to that. I plan on redoing the list. I'm going to go through and rewatch Relentless. I'm going to go through and rewatch Living Life at 90%. It kind of ties in here. And just get that spark back. It's not something that I've ever really lost, the spark, but having that rekindled and bring that flame a little bit higher, I kind of need that flame under my rear end to get me going again. So I think that's where we're going to go with this. And I'm looking forward to charging through to next year. Yeah. How about you, Matt?
So I was actually not going to do it this year. And so my reason was, in my mind, I lost 145 pounds. So I'm like within 30 to 35 pounds of my end goal, which is 290. So I'm sitting a little bit above 320 right now. Um, and I was kind of the same as Aaron. Like towards the end of the year, I kind of fell off, and it wasn't necessarily mindset. It was injury. So I started having issues with my feet, and found out that I had broken the arch in my left foot, and it caused a couple of infections and different things. So I have literally since September been in a chair doing maintenance workouts. So that really slowed down my progress. And after discussing it with a couple people, and I decided to go ahead and make the commitment and finish out what I started. My situation is that a lot of my support at home is not there, and towards the end of this last season, um, that my wife's outlook on the whole challenge and stuff, and where it takes me as far as a competitor, uh, just she didn't like it. So this year I am 100% on my own doing it. She really doesn't want to be a part of it, so that kind of takes the mindset to another place. Trying to be mindful of her wishes and still obtain the goals that I set for myself. So I've already done my SmackDown for this year. I have it on the fridge in the cupboard. So and at the bottom of mine, I always write down, is it worth it? And I always put those on the pantry and the fridge because I had to look at it before I open the pantry or the fridge. And I'm a faster, so I do intermittent fasting. And so it's important to me when I do go to the fridge that I don't try to sneak something that I'm not supposed to have or earlier than I have. I always have to look at that SmackDown bottom of that sheet that says, is it worth it? Um, so I've really dedicated myself to, I have about 10 days left in the cast. I've been in a boot for over 18 weeks now. So it's been really difficult. When you go from being intermediate to almost advanced down back to the chair, and that's where you started, there's been a big mindset shift and a lot of mental struggles that trying to wrap my head around getting motivated and staying motivated, even though I've basically finished the year where I started the year. So, it's been tough. It's definitely been a struggle for me. Staying motivated, staying on point, keeping my diet, with all the pills that they've had me on to fight the infections, and I've had vitamin D injections in my feet. Because when I was younger, I grew too fast, which is partly the problem. Is my arches didn't form like they were supposed to, and so just dealing with that, a lot of struggles here lately. And then you compile all the stuff that comes around the holidays on with it, family gatherings, and making sure that your diet's on point. I'm just glad to be back and have the goal set and dedicate, my journey again to get to my end goal of 290. So that's about where I'm at.
So when you guys came up and decided to recommit, did you have to, like, after that point, remotivate yourself, or was it just like saddling up because you already know what to do?
Mine was more so that, I already knew what I had to do. I've done it before. I can do it again. I never really stopped, like I said. Um, but recommitting, I think, to the 2022 Positively Unstoppable Facebook group, and seeing all the new faces, and seeing all the old faces, and having that sense of community again, is really going to rekindle that. We build each other up, and that's kind of where we go from there. So having that, and rededicating to, over the holidays, you have a little bit more to drink than you probably should, and you have a little bit more to eat than you probably should. So tightening that up, staying within my calories was one thing, but what kind of calories was I consuming to stay under? So reevaluating what you're eating, how you're eating it, and when you're eating it, is going to make a big difference. Sub in, you can have a whole lot of vegetables, in place of, a Christmas cookie or something like that. Going back to full on gluten free as opposed to like 80% gluten free. You know what I mean? We let that slide a little bit over the holidays. So having to recommit to myself, knowing that that's an important factor, I think will make a big difference over the course of the year. Matt?
Mine is same, just same day, different. But getting back in the saddle was not an issue. I already know what I'm doing. I've already got that routine in place. We've done it enough over the last year that it's just kind of tightening up like Aaron said, tightening up where we needed to. It is a little different this year being on the other side and not the newbies, being able to help the other new faces. So that's what kind of motivated me to get it out, get the format set for myself, is to show the new ones that it is possible, even if you have the limitations or problems. It does come. So I'm enjoying helping, honestly, more than anything this time, because I pretty much know what I need to do, and as long as I stick to that, I know I'll have success. And like I said, once I get this boot off, I'm kind of like the bucking bronco right now. I'm just waiting for the gates to open. So once I get that, just being able to push again, go kind of test my foot, see how it's going to react. Hopefully everything goes well. It's feeling good in the cast, so we'll see. I'm anxious to see how it's going to feel when I get off of it, and be able to do my first lunges and squats, and just kind of see how it reacts without the support. So that's about where I'm at.
Well, and to your point, Matt, as far as, being able to help those in the community, there are a lot of new people, and you and I both started in rebuild series, so we were worked from the ground up. So people out there, if you're watching, feel free to message, either of us or any of us. I would say at this point, if you need some help, we're seasoned in this stuff now. I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we started. I started in a chair, went to Stand Strong, did that, completed that whole series, and then with the beginner. Um, and beginner was a new beast for me because that was the first time I really went without a chair, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know how this is going to go," but it's amazing how fast your body builds the muscles that you need to be successful in the program. And I would almost suggest anybody over probably 350 start it with the standing with the chair. Just get your balance, get your muscles, get your legs built up, and then proceed on. Um, I had to start in a chair because of mobility issues, but even if I had to redo it and I didn't have to start there, knowing what I do now, I would have started in a chair. So uh, I don't know about Justin being starting that his size. I don't know where he started, but
I started Energy Classic, my man. I had the DVDs. I didn't have the app. I didn't know about the Rebuild series, so I gutted it out with the DVDs for the first 3 months, and then found the app and was like, Rebuild would have been real nice. But, so no, I started out with Energy Classic and worked on that for the first month. But I do recommend the Rebuild part, and I recommend the chair stuff. And I think I've talked to you and complained at you a few times about hopping in the chair, Matt. That
yes, you have.
So I'm not afraid to do it. That's typically my summer workout. I won't be afraid to admit it that there's times in the summer that after I've worked all day, I don't feel like hopping on the mat for 30 minutes to an hour. And I will roll my mat out while I'm in the shop trying to stretch out, and I'll do bed flex 1 and 2. And that's my exercise for the day just because I've already burned my calories for the day out in the shop, out in the heat. So I'm not going to overdo it, before I go to bed. So
It's funny that you said that because I remember when I was first starting and I was being 465 pounds, the fatigue on your body when you first start this is unreal at that weight. And I remember I was like asking you, I was like, how do you do recovery and still keep going? And when you told me to do those, I am the next day when I was having those issues, I tried it. And I tell all the people that I help right now, doing the same thing you did for me. That's my staple because that's still my go-to is go bed flex. Heck, I do all three of them if I'm really tight and need to stretch out. I'll just shotgun them 1, 2, 3, and do it. In the morning, do it before I go to bed, and you're ready to go for the next day.
I still do some of the bed flex ones also. I do all the really hard and heavy workouts now just because I've conditioned myself to that point. But if I'm really tight or if I've done a lot of driving or I just need to relax before bed, it's a really good calming way to stretch your back out. And I tell you, my back cracks like a firecracker every single time. So, I recommend you do it whether you're advanced or whether you're brand new. Having that bed flex is really helpful.
Okay, so you two are recommitting to the contest, but let's go to Caitlin, who actually was a finalist last year and has gone with a totally different set of goals.
Yeah, so I think for me, when it came to like I won this, I kind of hit my goals, and then it's like, now what? And so I had the surgeries that I talked about over the summer. So then it was a 6 month recovery, and I just hit 6 months at the end of December. So now we're in January. It's kind of like I get to start all over again. Um, so it's just I think I'm getting in the swing of restarting every time when I hit these kind of not roadblocks really, but just hitting. You hit this at another level. Okay, you have to start from there, and you hit another level. One of the activities I found super helpful, most effective for me is there was an activity from David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. He has you do tangible goals, basically. I mean, it's a really simple activity, but I think that a lot of the time for me, we have people saying like they make these big goals for themselves at the start of the year of like things that are like intangible, like I want to love myself more, or I want to feel good in, this thing. And that's fantastic to have those goals, but you also need tangible goals to make those things happen. And so I sit there and I make these categories. I have things like my career goals. I have my athletic health goals. I have my lifestyle goals, and all these things. And I write them all down and I have them on Post-its, and even within that goal, there's steps. How am I actually going to get there? And so for me, I need to see those. Those are on my bathroom mirror, and I make the time to sit there and read there's a lot of them, and I read all of them every single day to remind myself like what I'm working on. And I think that you could always have more goals. It's just they're going to be different. Some of the maintenance stuff is difficult, was at first because it's, you're used to going so hard and heavy so long. And then all of a sudden, like, that's not what you need to be doing. You need to find different ways to still take care of yourself, but not be going, running at the wall and, hitting the wall and going, I don't know what's going on. I think part of it for me was when, I'm going through recovery and stuff, it was difficult to feel like I was doing enough. I think sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So, like, maybe you did that really big success, but then like you're feeling like you're not doing the right things or the enough things. And so I have been very much working towards reframing that for myself, like what enough looks like for the day. I do the 100-day challenges. I think those for me are really helpful because it's a consistency thing that helps you do it. But, every day is going to look a little different. Some days that's going to be instead of blood flex, I like the new one on the app of the Paige in Dallas doing it's like during the holidays. The DDP stretch workout was phenomenal. I've done that one so many times, and it's so good for me at the end of the day to like stretch it out and just relax. And sometimes, it's not always DDP for me. I'm just starting into weightlifting pretty regularly, which I'm really enjoying. And then I'm finally able to get back to running. But it's also 17 degrees out right now. So we're gonna unfortunately gerbil on the treadmill, which I hate doing. But, with things like that, I really want to make sure I'm still holding myself to do these things. So those are part of my goals. It's X amount of times a week. It's pushing myself to stick to that. I love what Matt said about having the stuff in the kitchen. I myself have those difficulties of like, I'm in the cabinet and let's grab that while I'm in the cabinet. And so I myself have like there's like the cabinets that are maybe not as safe. I have like little messages on, or I have these little Velcro straps on the baking cabinets where the chocolate lives, just a reminder I have to undo this Velcro strap. So like, do I really, should I be in there? So little stuff like that, I think throughout my day. But again, I'm going into prepping for yet another surgery in February. This is a minor one, but it will set me back for a little while. And getting so I want to try to get as strong as I can, as like ready to go as I can before having another surgery done. And so for me, it's a lot of prep work to get there. So I'm on another road of like, I'm going to get really strong again, and then I'm going to have to do recovery again. So I think the yo-yoing in a different way than some people see. But I've had a lot of people who have had those kind of medical setbacks where they're like, I'm going so strong, I'm doing so well. And then I'm, stuck in a boot, or I'm told my doctor says you have to dial it back. You cannot do this or that. And so how do you not get around it, but adapt to it? And so I think a lot of what my plans are going forward, not even just this year, but it's like, how do you continue to adapt instead of letting that defeat you? It's a lot of that mental game of, I can still have Post-its and I can still have those goals, but they're going to look different than they did before. And so, maybe you are looking to do like the weightlifting I can still do. I can't do the running while I'm recovering. Fine. But like, what is something else I could be doing? How else am I still taking care of myself? And so I think all of that health and fitness stuff, and then with the eating, it's still an adjustment as well. So the levels of activity and trying to find the best ways to do that. I'm continuing to be gluten-free and dairy-free for my autoimmune inflammation. And I'm really trying to get back to intermittent fasting. The holidays were okay, but I'm having a lot of personal issues, so it was a very stressful time for me. And so, what's the safe thing? Food. Food makes things feel safe. Food makes things feel okay. And so I need to push back on food being comfort, and making sure that food's instead something that is, from this time to this time. And this is what, we're eating. So a lot of meal planning and really trying to push myself to stick to that. Because at the end of the day, I'm the only one holding myself accountable to that. Because if I'm going to go get that piece of chocolate out of the cabinet, who's going to know but myself? But who's going to be disappointed? Also myself. So it's really making sure you're holding yourself accountable in different ways, whether it be, like I said, writing the notes on the wall, having a support system that you're checking in with. There's a bunch of different groups and stuff on the Facebook that you can go to and, talk to people about that. So if you're in the challenge, please use those groups. there's plenty of other people that are like having these things that are happening. You're not alone in those. I'm sure that anything that we've said, between the four of us experience, someone's also sitting there going, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, and so voicing those concerns and getting that support, I think, is also a really big part of this.
Yeah, huge.
It's funny, like last year, it was so important for me at that weight to have a big win, and to like last year was my eye-opening year, and this one's going to be the kick-ass year. It's going to be we're going to hit our goals and keep trucking. So for me, last year was just learning that I can win, that I can do it, and it's not impossible. And now that I know it's possible, there's nothing going to be tying me down. So
Yeah, and I'm all about the challenges, right? So the crazy chaos that I keep doing, I'm all about the challenges. So I would actually like to be able to do Black Crow this year. It's not something that I ever really attempted. Thinking, it's probably not something I'm going to be able to do. But with the arm strength that I'm gaining with those jack straps, I think that might actually be attainable. So we'll see how that goes.
I tell you what, I'm going to be starting out 2022 a little bit different. Instead of, so when you spend 3 years just head down, running, going, because you got to lose the weight, you got to get in shape. And all this time, I've never learned how to relax. Um, I still equate relaxing with laziness, because I figured that's how I got so heavy in the first place. So Caitlin's heard me complain about this before. Many times I need to learn how to enjoy the moment. I need to be able to sit back with the people I'm with and enjoy that moment, and not always be thinking about what I have to work on tomorrow, or what I'm not getting done while I'm sitting there, or what I'm not going to get accomplished because I'm here enjoying time with people I should be. So my goals this year are going to be living in the now and enjoying what I've built, and then trying to see where we can take it from there. So that is one thing that I will challenge everybody this year that is challenging themselves and making resolutions, is to figure out what the end game is. I mean, what happens when you get your goal, when you finally grab hold of that thing you've been working for? You need to be thinking about what's next, and not worrying about it, but thinking about it. What's that next goal to improve yourself? So that's what I have for this episode. Do you guys have anything else?
I'm pretty good.
No, that's good for me. That's a hell of a challenge, though. I appreciate that.
So that is something that I've been working on now for 2 years. Is what's next? What do we got to do? And I'm always worried about what's next, when what's next should be enjoying life. It should be taking a break and enjoying what you've built, because you've put in a lot of hard work. So, but not have so much fun that you screw it all up. That's not what I'm saying. So
That's right.
okay, from all of us at the next 90%, we can't wait to see you next time. Thanks for joining us.